What would you do if your best friend's family treated you more like a son than their own blood? In today's story, one grandfather's final act is a masterclass in rewarding true loyalty over simple DNA. It all started when one of my best friends came to me for help. His grandpa, a man I'd known and loved for years, was getting to the point where he needed a little help in the mornings and evenings. The man was fiercely independent and made it clear he would rather die than go into a nursing home. Now, I needed to explain something. Back then, our country had a mandatory service program. Instead of the army, you could opt for civil service, working in places like hospitals or retirement homes. I had just finished my time in a retirement home, so I had professional experience in elder care. My friend asked if I could teach him how to properly care for his grandpa so he could stay in his own home. Since I basically saw his grandpa as my own, I immediately said yes. The plan was for me to train him for a few weeks, but we ended up just doing it together. For over half a year, every morning and every evening, we were there. Then, he had a stroke and passed away in the hospital 2 days later. A couple of days after that, my friend told me the family lawyer had officially invited me to the reading of the will. His grandpa had left me something as a thank you. I was touched, but the moment we walked into the lawyer's office, the atmosphere turned toxic. Let's call my friend F. His father, the entitled dad, we'll call ED, his uncle, EU. Why the hell are you here? ED spat at me. I know Dad called you his fifth grandkid as a joke, but this is for real family. His brother chimed in. I bet the little gold digger hoped he'd get some money. Before I could even process it, my friend F shot back. Show some respect. I know you two didn't give a damn about your dad, but at least pretend to be decent human beings. While we waited for the other grandkids to arrive, I overheard ED and EU talking behind us. My blood began to boil. They were bragging about new cars, new jewelry for their wives, and huge holidays they had already booked. It was all on credit, which they planned to pay off with the inheritance. There wasn't a single word of sadness or loss. It was just money, money, money. They made their plans with absolute certainty, completely unaware that their own father had laid a trap that their greed was walking them straight into. Finally, the lawyer began to read. He explained that the grandfather had left a letter, several pages long, but he would read the summary. It went something like this. In recent years, the letter began, I realized some people in my family cared a lot more about me than others. I am especially disappointed in my 2 sons, but I wanted to be truly fair and unbiased, so I came up with a point system to be tallied over the last 3 years of my life. This is where the genius of the plan was revealed. The lawyer continued reading the point breakdown. A letter or phone call was worth 1 point. A visit was 2 points per hour, plus travel time. Helping me out with something was 3 points per hour. The entire room was silent. Then came the final tally. Ed, the entitled dad, 8 points. EU, the entitled uncle, 10 points. The other grandkids had 150 and 133 points respectively. F's brother had 288. And then, my friend, F, 341 points. And me, the unofficial 5th grandson, 883 points. As one commenter later put it, this was the greatest method of allocating inheritance they'd ever heard. The grandfather was a legend who pulled off the ultimate pro-revenge. The lawyer concluded, my client has already liquidated most of his assets. The remaining value will be divided by the total number of points to determine the value of a single point. Each person will then receive a share according to their points. You could have heard a pin drop. Then, the room exploded. ED and EU started shouting at the same time, screaming that they'd been cheated and that the will would never stand. This explosion of rage revealed their greatest fatal flaw, their blinding entitlement, which ultimately sealed their fate and cost them everything. Of course, they sued, but the grandfather had one last trick up his sleeve. There was a clause in the will that wasn't read that day. Anyone who contested the will would automatically lose their share of the inheritance. After 3 long years of legal battles, they lost everything. Even their measly 8 and 10 points were forfeited. When the money finally came through, I was blown away. It was more than I felt I could accept, and I wanted to give some to the other grandkids, but F stopped me. He said, you cared for him when he needed you, without expecting anything for it. That makes you 10 times more his family than any of them. They got what they deserved. People online echoed this sentiment, with one person pointing out that giving the money away would have been a complete betrayal of the grandfather's specific wishes. Someone else even did the math, noting that based on the points, Grandpa considered me over 500 times more his family than his own sons. This story is a powerful reminder that family isn't just about blood, it's about who shows up. The grandfather's brilliant plan ensured that his legacy went not to those who felt entitled to it, but to those who had earned it through love and action. What do you think is the most important factor in deciding who deserves an inheritance? Share your thoughts in the comments.